Good morning. I am Jhoana Cabrera Acosta, and I am here to present to you my thesis proposal for Development Communication 204. The title of my thesis proposal is Determinants in the Behavioral Intention of the Out-of-School Individuals in the City of Ilagan in relation to continuing their education through the Open High School program. Education is a treasure that no one can steal from you. It is a passport to several opportunities and a key to improving your lot in life. Free public education is mandated by the Philippine Constitution. However, what if there are hindrances to getting the education which an individual deserves? There are factors which become hindrances to the chance of a person to improving his or her life. Being uninformed and uneducated, for example, holds a person back from grabbing the opportunity to a chance and develop his or her life situation. The improvement in one's life depends also on the decision making of the individual. If the person decides whether or not to be overcome by problems and wallow on regret for not making the right decision, such as pursuing secondary education, then there will be no improvement happening in his life. On the other hand, enrolling and going to school and doing the usual and expected responsibilities of a student relies now on the individual himself, simply because these actions are required of a student. Literacy rate in the country has been commendable for the past decades. However, increasing dropout rates have been documented by the Department of Education. In 2013, records show that 126,368 elementary students dropped out of school, while 236,222 dropped out of the high school level. According to DepEd, statistics indicate that Cagayan Valley region rated 4.0 in the elementary in the school year 2012 to 2013. According to some studies, the dropout rate in the secondary school level can be attributed to reasons such as poverty, teenage pregnancy, physical incapacity, and many others. The Department of Education has launched several programs which aim to lessen, if not stop, the dropout rates in the country. The Dropout Reduction Program, or DORP, under the Department of Education has launched the Open High School program as a response to the growing dropout problem in the education sector. The Open High School program is an alternative way of finishing secondary education through modular technique and independent learning. The OHSP is a program fit for learners who cannot attend regular classes schedules and are given an opportunity to study through distance learning. The program is campaigned by DepEd and is open to enrollment at any time in the school year. The Isabela National High School is the only school in Region 2 who is accredited by the Department of Education to offer the program. A program such as the OHSP is an answer to the education and dropout problem. Additionally, the digitalization of our world has greatly affected the behavior of people who are adept with technology. The power of technology through different communication media such as print, broadcast, and online media to inform and educate users cannot be undermined. Technology has been both a boom and a bane in different aspects. However, it has made life and work easy and convenient despite its imminent negative effects. The internet has even permeated the educational system. Learners are now regarded as the tech-savvy generation. 74% of the Filipino children surveyed by the Asian Institute of Journalism are computer literate and internet users. The internet has influenced students in terms of his or her study habits and even decision-making, which coincide with his or her behavior. Studies show that the Philippines is described as the social networking capital of the world, with 83% of Filipinos surveyed as members of social networks, with students as majority of the users of social networks. As such, social networks' potential to inform and educate people has to be utilized positively. Looking into the influence of social media in the studies of students, it can be an aid to know how students behave and form their decisions, consequently identifying their intentions. These aspects need to be evaluated to be able to address the need to safeguard the educational needs of learners and to contribute to the decrease, if not the eradication, of the incidence of dropout in school. The study aims to look into the determinants of behavioral intention and the recent action which influence the decision-making of the out-of-school individuals for dropping out of school or continuing their education. This research also aimed to identify whether social networks is one of the factors prompting the school leavers in dropping out or enrolling in the OHSP. It also targets to identify the useful and effective communication tools of INHS in campaigning for the OHSP to encourage school leavers in the city of Ilagan to enroll in the program. It is likewise targeted to propose the creation of a social marketing campaign to boost the information dissemination of the OHSP program to the target population. The main focus of the study is to assess the determinants in the behavioral intention and the recent action which influence the decision-making of the out-of-school individuals for dropping out of school or continuing their education by enrolling in the OHSP. Specifically, the research aimed to answer the following. Is social network a factor which prompts the school leavers in dropping out of school? Is social network a factor which prompts the school leavers in enrolling in the OHSP? What are the useful and effective communication tools used by INHS in campaigning for the OHSP to encourage school leavers in the city of Ilagan to enroll in the program? Can the creation of a social marketing campaign boost the information dissemination of the program to the target population? Through qualitative analyses and pertinent data gathering techniques, the general objective of this study is to assess the determinants of behavioral intention and the recent action which influence the decision-making of the out-of-school individuals for dropping out of school or continuing their education through OHSP. The primary research objectives are: identify whether social media is a factor which prompts the school leavers in dropping out of school. Identify whether social media is a factor which prompts the school leavers to enroll in the OHSP. Distinguish the useful and effective communication tools of INHS in campaigning for the OHSP to encourage school leavers in the city of Ilagan to enroll in the program. Propose the creation of social marketing campaign to boost the information dissemination of the OHSP to the target population. The process will involve purposive sampling method where respondents will be chosen. Respondents will come from the selected out-of-school individuals and current enrollees of the OHSP in INHS in the school year 2015 to 2016. Questions concerning their demographics and perception on finishing secondary education will also be the content of the survey. Qualitative research design will be used for data gathering and analysis of the gathered information. The problems experienced by the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan may be common to the problems experienced by other citizens in the country. However, these problems may be seen as factors which hinder them from finishing secondary education and in the end getting the chance to improving their life. Similarly, the situations which they are experiencing may also be seen as contributory factors leading to their decision-making. The intrinsic reasons in decision-making involve their personal perceptions on how they plan to improve their life, that is by planning and finishing studies. The extrinsic factors for their decision-making are based on the interpersonal aspect, how they relate with others and vice versa. The theory of recent action will be used to evaluate the behavior of the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan in relation to enrolling or not enrolling in the OHSP. As stated in the theory, the behavioral intentions of an individual define the result of their action. If a person intends to improve his life, then he is determined to finish secondary education. If an individual, despite having personal problems, intends to finish secondary education, he will find ways and means to attaining that goal, such as enrolling in the OHSP. The study aims to give light to the different concerns surrounding the life of out-of-school individuals in terms of their usage of social networks and how it affects their decision-making. Assessing the effect of social networks in encouraging or discouraging students in continuing their studies is imperative. Understanding their situation, providing them opportunities, and being able to boost their morale will help improve their life. By knowing their situation, others will be able to help inspire and influence their decision-making. Utilizing communication media familiar to the respondents, such as the social networks, will be more advantageous in encouraging them to enroll and finish schooling, thus contributing to the literacy of the country. We will be able to contribute to the goal of developing educated individuals to the society and eliminate illiteracy. Educators will be able to better understand how out-of-school individuals can be supported considering the imminent threat posed by technology and personal problems to their education. Likewise, educators may be able to come up and plan better communication tools when it comes to campaigning for the OHSP, consequently increasing the number of learners in the program and decreasing dropout rates. The Department of Education will be able to check the effectiveness of the programs it launches and will be able to further enhance or improve other programs to cater to the most basic need of unschooled individuals. Education is important, and social marketing will aid in boosting the information dissemination of the OHSP. With emphasis on identifying and assessing the behavioral intentions of identified respondents in terms of discontinuing or continuing their education by enrolling at the Open High School program, the theory of recent action by Martin Fishbane and Isaac Agen is found effective for this research. It will look into assessing the recent action or behavior of the respondent. Fishbane and Agen's theory explains the influence on behavior that involve the conscious decision-making. These influences build on the intention of an individual whether to act in favor of an expected behavior or not. The theory aims to predict behavior based on attitude and subjective norm. Attitude is defined by Fishbane and Agen as a general orientation toward a behavior based on an individual's variety of beliefs and evaluations. A person's attitude towards a behavior is centered on beliefs that are evaluated and measured. It consists of 1. A belief that a particular behavior leads to a certain outcome, and 2. An evaluation of the outcome of that behavior. Therefore, an individual's actions are based on his or her belief and the evaluation of the perceived outcome. According to the theory, attitudes are helpful in creating effective interventions to predict behavioral intention. The intention of participating or showing a particular behavior may be based on the perceived favorable outcome after careful evaluation of an individual. This attitude is oriented on the intrinsic factors which influence the individual into performing an action which is based on his belief and the perceived outcome, that is, the attitude. Subjective norm is the perceived action expected by others from the individual. Accordingly, it is seen as a type of peer pressure. The theory explains that this subjective norm is influenced by external factors which lead an individual into making or doing an action or showing the expected behavior. The theory banks on a person's intention to perform the behavior. The stronger the intention, the greater is the possibility of an individual performing the expected behavior. Intentions may be influenced by forces outside the individual, thus, the action is extrinsically motivated or influenced. The theory of reasoned action is modeled in this figure. The study aims to identify the determinants of behavioral intention of the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan in relation to discontinuing their education by dropping out of school or by continuing their education by enrolling at the open high school program of the Department of Education. Analysis of the information gathered in the study will be done through the use of the theory of reasoned action by Martin Fishbane and Isaac Aje. The different factors affecting the decision-making of the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan are the main focus of the study. The problems or factors which cause them to drop out of school or enroll in the OHSP shall be considered influential to their decision-making. This decision-making may be intrinsically or extrinsically influenced. The theory has identified attitude and subjective norm which influence the behavioral intentions of an individual. The theory states that an attitude of an individual influences his behavior and acts according to the perceived outcome. The decision to perform an action constitutes a person's attitude towards a given situation. Attitude will be seen as intrinsic, and the individual performs an action after careful evaluation. The performance of this action is also done based on the perceived outcome. The evaluation of the attitude of the individuals who have dropped out of school and those who have enrolled in the OHSP will be analyzed using the attitude aspect of the theory. Their belief on the decision which they have made, whether dropping or enrolling, and the evaluation of the outcome of their action has to be assessed. The attitudes of these out-of-school individuals need to be identified to know if these intrinsic factors are contributory to their reasoned action. Hence, the attitude of the out-of-school individuals towards dropping out, enrolling in OHSP, and their use of social networks must be evaluated to see whether these attitudes result to the favorable or unfavorable outcomes influencing their behavioral intention. The peer pressure, which is the subjective norm in the theory, are the external factors influencing each individual. The out-of-school individual's decision-making and their reasoned action may also be determined by looking into the outside factors which influence their behavior, that is, enrolling in OHSP or dropping out of school are decisions done by the individuals as influenced by friends, environment, or community. The influence and interaction happening in social networks is categorized as subjective norm. The primary reason for the use of social networks is to connect with other people. This connection can contribute to the encouragement or discouragement of an individual towards studying. The use of reasoned action theory through the identification of the attitude and the subjective norm which influences an individual's intention in the study will be beneficial in determining the reasoned action of the out-of-school individuals. With that as basis of evaluation, it can help in determining the reasoned action of the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan. To facilitate the information dissemination of OHSP, a social marketing strategy will be proposed and created. Social marketing strategies are found to be effective in information dissemination and campaigning and attaining the objectives of a certain program. The objectives of OHSP have to be spread to target population. Doing this will contribute to changing the attitude of dropouts towards studying, towards dropping out, and towards the negative use of social networks. To illustrate the concept, these graphics will show how different factors will relate to one another. The objectives of this research is to identify the intrinsic and intrinsic factors or problems which influence the out-of-school individuals in the city of Ilagan, leading to dropping out of school or continuing their education, and distinguish the determinants of behavioral intentions of learners in relation to continuing or discontinuing their secondary education. This proposed study will use the qualitative research analysis, utilization of interview, observation, and questionnaires in the study. The purpose is to describe the situation observed by the researcher. The primary source of data will come from interviews to the selected respondents. Secondary data will consist of research-conducted questionnaires, published articles from journals, theses and related studies on education, and related books and articles. The process will involve purposive sampling method, where respondents will come from the selected school leavers or dropouts of the last 2 school years, 2013 to 2014 and 2014 to 2015, and the current enrollees of the OHSP in INHS in the school year 2015 to 2016. The INHS OHSP coordinator will also be interviewed to get background information about the implementation of the program. Since the focus of the research is on the determinants of recent action for continuing or discontinuing secondary education, choosing the out-of-school individuals of the City of Ilagan who are enrolled in the Open High School program of the Isabela National High School as respondents and conducting an interview with the INHS OHSP coordinator will be relevant. The enrollees of the OHSP and the school leavers of INHS City of Ilagan will be the respondents of the research. Questions to students will be comprised of queries concerning the demographics and perception or attitude towards school to finish secondary education, towards dropping out, enrolling in OHSP, and usage of social networks. The questionnaires for the students will be in Filipino language to facilitate comfort and spontaneity in sharing their opinion and perception. The students will be asked to select applicable answers identifying the reasons for dropping out of school. Extrinsic factors are the following. Walang pamasahe papuntang paaralan. Masyadong malayo ang paaralan. Walang baon sa eskwela. Nagkaanak. Ikinasal. Napabarkada. Naimpluwensyahan ng kausap sa social network. Natakot sa guro. Kailangang magbantay ng nakababatang kapatid o kapamilya. Nabuli o laging tinutukso. Nahumaling sa internet games. Kailangang magtrabaho. Nagkasakit. The intrinsic factors. Tinatamad mag-aral. Napapadalas sa paggamit ng social network. Nawala ng ganang mag-aral. Hindi maintindihan ang pinag-aaralan. Interview questions for the coordinator will be about the assessment process during the enrollment of students in the OHSP, the role of the school in sustaining the level of interest of students towards finishing their studies, and the process of information dissemination about the OHSP, specifically identifying the communication tools used. Qualitative research design will be used for data gathering and analysis of the information gathered. Frequency distribution will be used to analyze the data gathered for the results and conclusion. Research will also be employed to provide background about the Open High School program. The individual characteristics and attitudes of these out-of-school individuals in the City of Ilagan are the independent variable. The dependent variable of the study is the recent action or intention.